someone I'll actually refer to as a Wonder Woman. Her name is Petronella Shiaka Malundu. We'll just refer to her as an activist. And she wears many, many hats. And among other languages, she actually speaks Spanish. Interesting. Welcome. Petronella, welcome to the show.
Good morning, viewers. Buenos dias. Morisha Nimkwai.
Welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Petronella, let's begin by having a brief background of who you are. Who is Petronella Shiaka Malundu?
I am a child of God, and I give all glory and honor to the Almighty. I am an African woman. My warm embrace gives love to my children, my husband, my neighbors, my community. I use my back to carry children and leaders of tomorrow, so that tomorrow they will carry me. I am unique. I am an original woman. I am not a carbon copy. I am made in the image of God. I was brought into this world to do something for others. I consider myself a leader who has a vision to lead the nation of Zambia in the right path. I am Mrs. Petronella Malundu Shiaka. Shiaka is my maiden name. I choose not to forget the man who sent me to school and made sure that I was educated. I am Mrs. Malundu Shiaka, but I prefer you call me Mama Malu.
Mama Malu.
So, in short, that is who I am. I am a concerned citizen. Professionally, I started off as a physiotherapy, but as I went along the way, I ended up in the housing sector. So I am a housing development practitioner, and I specialize in developing social housing and cooperative housing. So I think in brief, that's who I am.
Now, before we get into the details of the interview, I'd just like you to share with us, how do you, as a professional woman who does so many things, how do you divide your time, as both demand a good part of your time as a wife and as a professional woman? How do you juggle it all up?
You know, like every woman, it's about planning and getting your priorities right. And that is what women are very good at. It's about managing our time while planning. From the minute we lift up our head from that pillow, we already have a plan of how we're going to deal with the day, how we're going to manage our day. You know, as a woman, to get ahead in your career or whatever it is that you do, it's about planning. But most importantly, I tell young women, you know, that you need to have a good support system. Thank God, as Africans, we come from large families. It's not enough that you have a maid. You need to have a good support system from your family, from your friends. When you're running late that day, there's somebody to pick up the children from school. When you have to travel outside town, outside home, you've got family and friends to look after your children. But also to communicate with your partner and your husband. He needs to understand your needs as a professional and what your job entails, and to choose the right partner. You know, you need to have a husband that supports you and understands your needs. So in short, it's having a strong support system and organizing your life.
Mama Malu, you spoke about being a concerned citizen. Tell us a little bit of what the concerns are.
I must say that I was born the same year as when Zambia got its independence. We share the same birth year.
Yeah.
So it tells you that I come from the 60s.
Yeah.
I have lived through the UNIP times, I have lived through the MMD times, and I'm living through the PF time. I have seen Zambia in the past 57 years go through good economic times and hardship. As a concerned citizen, I am concerned about the economy of this country. As a mother and as a woman, how do I pay 220 kwacha for 5 liters of cooking oil? I am concerned because in Zambia, we have 83% male representation in parliament. Who does that? And only 17% of women. I believe that if we have more women in power, in politics, women sitting at different decision-making tables across different sectors, we would have a better economy. Not what is happening now. I tell you that a meda of Kapenta born and bred in the Kariba, is costing 180 kwacha a meda. I am concerned that a lot of families are going hungry in this country because food has become unacceptable. I see youths standing at bus stops, harassing taxi drivers for 1 kwacha, 2 kwacha. These young men are going to be husbands in a few years' time. These young men are going to be fathers in the next 5 to 10 years. What has happened to this country? What has happened to this country? That's why I'm saying I'm a concerned citizen. I look at our industry. We don't have any industries. In the Kaunda era, we had the Fiat assembly plant in Livingston. In Chipata, we had the bicycle assembly plant. In Kawambwa, we had Kawambwa tea. You know, in West, we had, you know, the list is long. What do we have as a country? We have high levels of unemployment. Those are my concerns. That's why I say I am a concerned citizen, and all of us should be concerned.
Yeah, Mama Malu, you have, I just want you to, coming back to what you're talking about right now, you've traveled extensively, and I know you've lived in other countries, such as South Africa. You spent quite a lot of time there. Where do you think, what lessons do you think we can learn from the other countries who are doing a little bit better than we are? Especially when you talk about economically, even women's representation.
As a young girl, I started off living in the UK, working for a tea broking company, Thomson Lloyd and Hewitt. And when I was there, Kawambwa Tea was exporting tea to London, and Thomson were the brokers. My employers gave me flexi time because my children were young, which meant that I only went to work after the children were in school, so I could make it to the office, and I knocked off early so I could pick them up. Introducing flexi time, for example. In fact, it's already happening in Zambia during this COVID area.
Yeah, you were forced into it.
Yes, we were forced into it, but that is something we could consider, for example, where parents can work 1 week on, 1 week off, or some in the morning, some in the afternoon. We need to come up with policies or legislation that can support our youth, our women. For example, when I lived in South Africa, we pushed to have the cooperative legislation to move from the Ministry of Agriculture to the Department of Industry. That's what we've done in Zambia as well. So, you know, that way you are empowering a lot of people. In Zambia, the cooperative sector used to be very vibrant in the 70s, and then it died, and it's trying to be revived again. There are so many different ways that we as a country could do to improve our economic situation and our policies. For example, in Zambia, I was speaking to a few ladies during the week. When you go to give birth, you have to go with your own gloves, you have to go with a plastic sheet because the clinics don't provide that. What happens to a woman who comes from a very poor family? I mean, there should be policies in place that say that for women, the clinics are going to have all these necessary resources. So we can learn a lot from other countries where You promote the youth into employment. You create a learning culture so that as the older people are leaving the organization, the baton is passed on to the younger generation coming before us. But in Zambia, we want to stay in those jobs forever. We're not giving room to the youth. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, no,
but not exactly.
No, you have, you have. So then, what should we do, Mama Malu? Where are we? Because some people think that things can only get better if you, as a woman, run for political office. That's when you become effective. What are you saying to those women? And you don't even have enough women representation, even in the political field. Though we've tried a little bit when it comes to the corporate world.
Well, running for political office is also a good thing, because when you are a member of parliament, you'll be able to push forward bills that will eventually turn into legislation for the benefit of the country. So that's a good thing as well. Not everybody can run for political office, but I encourage as many women as possible to do that. However, as women, as the youth, as men, as Zambian citizens, we can talk about these issues, talk about them openly. We should not put issues under the table. If there's something we disagree about or we have recommendations, we really need to start talking about this. It will not help us if we keep quiet. In the rural areas, men and women there do not understand that their vote is unique and that that vote belongs to them. They don't understand that the president, the parliamentarians, the mayors, the councillors are their workers. We have to remind the politicians that we, the Zambians, are the ones who appoint them and put them in those positions. They work for us. They are our workers. So, as Zambians, we need to talk about these things. And if we need to make change, we do it through our votes. People in the rural areas think that, I must wait for my chief, I must wait for my headman to tell me who to vote for. No, it is your personal right. As Zambians, our voice, our vote is what is going to speak for us. So yes, running for political office is okay, but as Zambians, we need to speak up. I ask myself, where is the clergy? Where is the church? Food is so expensive. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. Maybe you've had somebody talk about it in your
studio. No, but you're going to say it's the economy.
But if they don't...
Because the food is, most things are imported from outside. Perhaps when you talk about, look, the other day I found a tray of eggs going for 70